In this video, we're going to learn about point-slope form, which is one of the three forms of linear equations, the other two being standard form and slope-intercept form, and it gets its name from the fact that we use one point and the slope to write the equation. So the equation is y minus y1 equals m times the difference of x and x1. And notice that y1, m, and x1 are red, and that is because those are the three pieces of information that we are going to plug in to create this equation. M representing the slope, x1 is the x value from our point, and y1 is the y value from our point. Looking at our first example here, we see the slope is 3.5 and negative 3 comma 2 is a point on the line. So let's go ahead and write our linear equation in point slope form. So we're going to go y minus a parentheses for y1 equals, we could just leave a gap for the slope here, x minus a parentheses for x1. Now these parentheses are important because since we are subtracting here, double negatives might become an issue. So parentheses are always a good way to make sure that you don't miss anything and make mistakes. Now let's go ahead and plug in our information. Our slope is 3.5, that goes right here. Our y1 value is 2, and our x1 value is negative 3. Now we need to simplify, which just means to clean this up, get rid of any parentheses we don't need, and take care of these double negatives. So here I can write y minus 2 equals 3.5 times, and x minus negative 3 becomes x plus 3. So this is our equation in point slope form. Y minus 2 equals 3.5 times the sum of x and 3. This is point slope form right here. There's no need to do anything else. Now, one of the valuable uses of point slope form is that it's an easy way to write an equation in slope-intercept form, because from this point, all you need is two more steps. The first step would be to distribute. So 3.5 times x is 3.5x, and 3.5 times 3 is 10.5. We bring down the rest of the equation, and then we just need to solve for y. So I need to get rid of this negative 2 by adding 2 to both sides. And we get the equation y equals 3.5x plus 12.5. And this is our equation in slope-intercept form. So if you need to write an equation in point-slope form, this is it right here in red. And if you need to write your equation in slope-intercept form, this is it right here in pink. Looking at our next example here, we see the slope is 1/3 and the point on the line is negative 3 comma 1. So let's set this up. Y minus y1 equals, leave a gap for the slope, x minus x1. Let's go ahead and plug in our information. Our slope is 1/3. Our y1 value is 1, and our x1 value is negative 3. And let's go ahead and simplify. So we have y minus 1 equals 1/3 times, and again, x minus negative 3 is x plus 3. So again, this is our equation in point-slope form. If we want to go ahead and write our equation in slope-intercept form, then we just need to take the next step, which is to distribute. So 1/3 times x is 1/3 x, and 1/3 times 3 is 1. And on the other side, y minus 1, and then we solve for y. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides, and I get the equation y equals 1/3 x plus 2. And so this is our equation in slope-intercept form. So what if instead of getting the slope and a point, we get 2 points? Well, what we need to do then is find the slope by using our slope formula. So we have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We need to take one of these points and label them as x1, y1, and the other point, we label it as x2, y2. Then we set up our slope formula using parentheses, because that's how we avoid making mistakes. And we plug in our values. So here, our y2 value is 4, and our y1 value is 1. Our x2 value is 3, and our x1 value is 2. Now 4 minus 1 is 3, and 3 minus 2 is 1. So now we know that our slope is 3. Now the interesting thing about writing equations in point-slope form when you have 2 points is you could actually end up with 2 different equations. So let's go ahead and take the first point here. So our slope value is 3, our y value is 1, and our x value is 2. And let's simplify. Y minus 1 equals 3 times x minus 2. And we could also do the same thing with this second point. Don't let this x2, y2 confuse you. Remember that that's just because we had to find the slope using slope formula. So the y value from this point is 4, the x value is 3, and our slope is 3. And we simplify and we get y minus 4 equals 3 times x minus 3. Now, both of these equations are correct point-slope form equations for the line that passes through these 2 points. And they may look different because they use different numbers, but these equations are actually equivalent. And I'm going to prove that to you by converting them both to slope-intercept form. So let's do the one on the left first. We're going to distribute 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. We bring down the y minus 1. We're going to add 1 to both sides so that we can solve for y. And we get y equals 3x minus 5. Now let's do the same to the other side. So again, we're going to distribute 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. We bring down the y minus 4. And now we're going to solve for y by adding 4 to both sides. And we get the equation y equals 3x minus 5. So you can see, even though they look different in point-slope form, when we convert them to slope-intercept form, we get the exact same equation. Looking at a second example here, once again we have 2 points. So the first thing we need to do is find our slope. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Let's label our points, x1, y1, and x2, y2. We'll set up our slope with our parentheses and plug in our numbers. So our y2 value is 4, and our y1 value is 3, and our x2 value is 2, and our x1 value is 0. And so 4 minus 3 is 1, and 2 minus 0 is 2. So our slope is half. Once again, we have 2 points, so we have 2 possible equations. So we're going to plug in our information. So our slope is 1/2. For the first point, our y value is 3, and our x value is 0. And we simplify here. Y minus 3 equals half times, well, x minus 0 is just x, right? So I could actually write this without the parentheses. So I can write y minus 3 equals half x. Now on the other side, same slope. Our y value is 4, and our x value is 2. And we simplify. We get y minus 4 equals half times x minus 2. So now if your goal is to write the equation in point-slope form, either one of these is correct. Y minus 3 equals half x, or y minus 4 equals half times x minus 2. And once again, I'm going to convert them to slope-intercept form just so that we can see that they are equivalent. Here, y minus 3 equals half x, I really just have one step to perform, and that is to add 3 to both sides. And I get the equation y equals half x plus 3. On the other side, I'm going to distribute. So half times x is half x, and half of -2 is -1. And now I need to add 4 to both sides. And I get, again, y equals half x plus 3. All right, let's take a look at some examples of solving word problems using point-slope form. So here it says Paul wants to place an ad in a newspaper. The newspaper charges $10 for the first 2 lines of text and $3 for each additional line of text. Paul's ad is 8 lines long. How much will the ad cost? So what we want to do here is identify 2 pieces of information, a point and a slope. So what's the point? Remember, the point is an x comma y. It's an input and an output. So we want to look at the problem to see if we have an input-output relationship. Well, in the second sentence, it says the newspaper charges $10 for the first 2 lines of text. Right here is our input-output relationship. The input is the number of lines of text, and the output is the amount that the newspaper charges. So we have here, for 2 lines of text, the newspaper charges $10. So that right there is our point, our input-output value. Next, we want to identify the slope. So think about what the slope is. The slope is what we're going to be multiplying the input x by. So if you look here, it says the newspaper charges $10 for the first 2 lines of text and $3 for each additional line of text. So we're going to be multiplying by 3. So our slope is 3. Now we can write our equation in point-slope form. So we go y minus, parentheses for y1 equals, we'll leave a space for the slope, x minus and parentheses for x1, and plug in our values. Our slope is 3, our y1 value is 10, and our x1 value is 2. So if we simplify this, we have y minus 10 equals 3 times x minus 2. Now we can answer the question, how much will Paul's ad cost if it's 8 lines long? So remember, the number of lines is our input, that's our x value. So now we're going to substitute this 8 here for this x. So it looks like this. So y minus 10 equals 3 times, now parentheses for this x, minus 2. We plug in the 8. We work this out. So y minus 10 equals 3 times 8 minus 2 is 6. Y minus 10 equals 3 times 6 is 18. Then we just add 10 to both sides. And we see that y equals 28. So it's going to cost Paul $28 to place an ad that is 8 lines long. Taking a look at this second example here, it says Daisy purchases a gym membership. She pays a sign-up fee and a monthly fee of $11. After 4 months, she has paid a total of $59. Use a linear equation in point-slope form to find the sign-up fee. So again, we need to identify the slope and 1 point. So it says here in the second sentence, she pays a sign-up fee and a monthly fee of $11. There's our slope right there, the monthly fee of $11. Now we need a point. Remember, our point is going to be an input-output relationship that they give us. And it's right here in the third sentence. It says, after 4 months, she has paid a total of $59. So our input is the number of months, and our output is the amount of money. So our point here is 4, 59. Now we're ready to plug that information into our point-slope form. So y minus, parentheses for y1, equals, leave a gap for my slope, x minus, and a parentheses for x1. Plug in our points. Our slope is 11. Our y1 value is 59. And our x1 value is 4. Let's simplify this. We get y minus 59 equals 11 times x minus 4. So now, in order to answer the question, find the sign-up fee, we need to think about what our second x value is going to be. So now, think about this. When have you only paid the sign-up fee? Well, you've only paid the sign-up fee before you have started using the gym. in month 0. So that is our x value to find the sign-up fee, where x is 0. So we're going to write y minus 59 equals 11 times. We're going to plug in a 0 for x. 0 minus 4 is negative 4. So y minus 59 equals 11 times negative 4. 11 times negative 4 is negative 44. So y minus 59 equals negative 44. And then to solve, we're going to add 59 to both sides. And we get y equals 15. So now we know that the sign-up fee for this gym membership was $15. All right, next example. It says an animal shelter asks all volunteers to take a training session and then to volunteer for 1 shift each week. Each shift is the same number of hours. The table shows the number of hours Joan and her friend Miguel worked over several weeks. Another friend, Lily, plans to volunteer for 24 weeks over the next year. How many hours will Lily volunteer? So now, in this case, there are no word clues as to what the slope is, but we have a table, and we can use slope formula to find the slope. So slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we're going to go ahead and label. Here's our first point, x1, y1, and our second point here, x2, y2. Now we're going to set up our slope with parentheses, our slope formula. And plug in our values. So my y2 value is 23, and my y1 value is 15. My x2 value is 10, and my x1 value is 6. 23 minus 15 is 8, and 10 minus 6 is 4. So the slope is 2. Now, when we're trying to solve a word problem, we don't need to write both equations for both points. So we're just going to go with the first point here. So y minus y1 equals my slope times x minus x1. And we're going to plug in our slope, 2, our y1 value, which is 15, and our x1 value, which is 6. And then we're going to simplify this. So we have y minus 15 equals 2 times x minus 6. Now we need this x value, which is right here, because we want to find out how much Lily's going to work if she volunteers for 24 weeks. So we have here y minus 15 equals 2 times, now a parentheses for this x, minus 6. And so we plug in 24. Well, 24 minus 6 is 18. So now y minus 15 equals 2 times 18. 2 times 18 is 36. And then to solve for y, all we have to do is add 15 to both sides. And we get y equals 51. So if Lily plans to volunteer for 24 weeks over the next year, she can expect to work 51 hours. All right, our last example. It says a gas station has a customer loyalty program. The graph shows the amount, y dollars, that 2 members paid for x gallons of gas. Use an equation in Pointslope to find the amount a member would pay for 22 gallons of gas. So if we look over at the graph, we see that we have 2 points, so we need to find the slope. So slope, again, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'm going to set this up with parentheses. I have to label these points. So I'm going to label this point here x1, y1, and this point here x2, y2, and plug these values in. My y2 is 49, my y1 is 10, my x2 is 18, and my x1 is 5. Now 49 minus 10 is 39, and 18 minus 5 is 13, and 39 divided by 13 is 3. So our slope is 3. Now we need the slope and one of the points, and I'm going to make life easier for myself by choosing the smaller point. So y minus y1 equals our slope times x minus x1. Plug in our slope, which is 3. Plug in our y value, 10, and our x value, 5. We simplify this. Y minus 10 equals 3 times x minus 5. And now we need our new x value, which is right here, is 22. So y minus 10 equals 3 times x minus 5. We're going to plug in the 22 here. Well, 22 minus 5 is 17. So y minus 10 equals 3 times 17. 3 times 17 is 51. Now I need to solve for y, so I'm going to add 10 to both sides. And I get y equals 61. So a member could expect to pay $61 for 22 gallons of gas. All right, I hope this video helped you understand how to use point slope form.